Welcome to One on One. I'm Greg Bassey, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. We've got one of our friends in the house today, Delegate Carl Anderton. Welcome, sir.
Hey, how you doing, man?
So we have you in here, as always, this time of year to preview the General Assembly session, which is starting in January. We're really excited. You just came from a special session, though.
Yes.
What was that about, and what did you do during that?
So that was, they took the time to override the governor's vetoes, and then we did the congressional district maps, which is a big deal because it affects us here on the Eastern Shore. It affects the entire state, of course, with our members of Congress, our congressional delegation. And currently the map for District 1, which is the Eastern Shore, kind of wraps around the top of the bay, hugs the Pennsylvania border, goes all the way to Carroll County.
Right, almost to Western Maryland.
Almost to Western Maryland, right.
Yeah.
And so that has changed. And so now it's the Eastern Shore and then a piece of Harford County. But then it jumps across the bay and picks up a section of Anne Arundel County, kind of like it did before 2010.
The 92 election, when
Yes.
they put Tom McMillan and Wayne Gilchrist in the same district, that
Right.
part of Annapolis area was
Yeah.
in the first district.
Yeah, so it's very similar to that. Out of all the districts, District 1 looks the most geographically normal,
Right.
I guess.
Right.
But it definitely has skewed the party breakdown in the district, and so I'm curious to see how that plays out in this election and the elections to come afterwards.
Now, there are 8 House seats in the congressional makeup of Maryland. 7 of them are a Democrat will probably always win.
Right.
Andy Harris in District 1 had the edge in terms of registration for District 1. But this makes it more complicated. That number is going to be a lot closer, that a Democrat might be able to compete in District 1 now.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, for the Democrat leadership, I mean, that was their goal. For us, we kind of would like to see, just like as it is in the House and the Senate on the Maryland, on the state level, is that, we'd like to see representation at least kind of match voter registration. It's 2-1. So you would think the congressional districts would kind of be 2-1,
Right.
instead of, 7-1.
Right.
But it's the world we're in, and so the thing is, if you're a good candidate, then the registration shouldn't matter.
Right.
You should always be voting for the best person, not the letter next to their name. So we'll find out if that's true or not.
Right. We had Phil Tillman in recently, and we were remembering back when the first district included Southern Maryland, and it seemed like congressional district was done based on economic and political similarities. So, back then, Southern Maryland was really similar to the Eastern Shore, watermen, farmers, rural. The county budgets were about the same. The demographics were very similar. And then in the, 1990 census, that's when things went crazy, when they put Wayne and Tom McMillan in the same district. Then in 2000, they put Bobby Ehrlich and Wayne in the same district to try to knock off a Republican. Bobby paid them back by running for governor.
That's right.
And winning. That was his solution to it.
Sure.
And now we have a situation back again where it seems more political than ever before.
It's funny, we were able to get copies of the maps, throughout, all the different times the maps have been redrawn. And it's a steady progression from, just blocks on the map, respecting county lines and municipal lines and natural boundaries, to this thing now where it's just paint splotches everywhere. And so it's just kind of interesting seeing how it goes from, something that you're like, oh, yeah, well, that makes sense, to where we are now. It's like, okay, why does this district 2 miles wide here and then balloons out and then comes down and balloons out again looking... and there's one district that kind of looks like a cone where it bounces in and out around another district. And it's like,
Right.
Really? Do we have to fight that hard? It can't, I don't know. But that's where we are.
Now, in the assembly coming up, there will also be a vote on your all's own districts here in terms of those designs. Any changes in the district that you represent now in terms of the lines?
We'll find out. I know that we've had really good growth in District 38B. Wycomico County is the only county on the lower shore that actually grew in population, and most of that growth happened in our district. And so, I would probably expect our district lines to kind of be a little more compact. And as folks probably get placed into other districts. So it's going to be an interesting transition, because I've worked with my neighbors in those areas, for 6 years now, 7 years now, and to not be able to technically represent them is going to be a little odd. I'm still going to help them however I can, and then we'll have some new areas that I haven't had the chance to represent, and so it's going to be a different kind of transition, and so we're going to have to walk a fine line of me, wanting to help the folks of Wycomico County, but not wanting to deliberately step on the toes of, my fellow delegates who represent those areas now.
Right.
So we'll do the best we can to. The goal, first off, is to make sure if somebody has a problem, we fix it.
Right.
We'll deal with the stepping on toes later.
Right. Well, 38B a couple times ago it extended into Worcester County. It was
Right.
kind of a crazy thing. But now it's more compact. It's Salisbury, it's Delmar. It kind of wraps around and buffets the majority district in 38A, which is Cherie, Sample, Hughes.
37A. Yep.
Is it 37A? Okay, right. Which
Yep.
is Cherie, Sample,
Yep.
Hughes. So that all seems normal in terms of the configuration. The Senate districts have always bothered me, and having Wycomico split between 37 and 38 never
Right.
really made sense.
Right.
But so that will be coming up again.
Yeah, and I expect more of Wycomico to be placed into 38, again, due to population losses in Worcester and Somerset. 37, I think, will be pushed more up the shore, more into Caroline County, and the same thing with 36, and so on and so forth, wrapping around the top of the bay down into Baltimore County. And so it's going to be interesting. These maps should be out soon. So I'm curious to see not only how it affects us, but it affects the dynamics across the bridge. Who gets placed into another district, who doesn't. All that's going to be a pretty wild dynamic as we move into the session. A lot of jockeying. I'm sure there'll be people looking to move into whatever the new district is and things of that nature.
Right.
So we are where we are. We're in Delmar. We're going to stay in Delmar. So if the lines move, they move. We'll figure that out as it comes.
Right.
But I just have been truly blessed to represent Delmar, Salisbury, and Fruitland, and hopefully those areas stay together because they really are growing into one conjoined area, and what affects Fruitland now affects Delmar. What affects Salisbury affects Delmar and Fruitland, and so to have that split, I think, would be really not good for either of those areas.
Right.
So.
Right. And you seem well suited to represent that constituency.
That's my people.
Right.
Absolutely. And all we want to do is give them what they want.
Speaking of Delmar, you're the former Delmar, Maryland mayor.
Sure.
And Delmar has a new mayor.
They do. Yes, absolutely.
I have to confess, I don't know this man at all.
Right. Well, I met him a couple months ago. And,
It seemed like he came from out of nowhere, but
yeah. It's a good guy. So, I mean, he's the mayor now, so we're going to rally around him and we're going to do the best we can to help him. We talk on a weekly basis. I'm fortunate that he will ask me for my input on things. He doesn't have to do that. So I'm grateful for that because, again, I want to make sure that our neighbors have everything they need, that we're getting the best we can for our tax dollars, the best return on that, and that folks have the opportunity to, again, it all comes down to the same thing we've been saying since day one. Your time on this planet is only so long. It could be over today. You could get 30 years. We don't know. So I want to make sure that as far as we can do, that it's the best it can be for you, that you can enjoy your life and do what you want and live how you want to live, because that's all we've got. And so with the new mayor and the new council members, whether it's, finding money for infrastructure projects, working on the railroad crossings, which everybody can't stand, me being one of them, because right through the center of town is a railroad track. Those crossings are always in shambles. Whatever it may be, water, wastewater, we're going to do what we can to help our new mayor and council members. And I want to give a hat tip to the former mayor. Now it sounds weird saying that.
Yeah.
Karen.
Karen.
She was amazing. Anytime I needed anything, she was a phone call away. Just, we were very symbiotic in working with their neighbors to make sure they had what they needed. And I don't expect her to go too far away. She's definitely a very, she bleeds blue and orange, Delmar colors. And so I expect her to be right there in the mix.
Well, the big issue up there right now, and the mayor just this week talked about having to deal with it, is the problem with the police. We're several months out of the Corporal Hecook situation, and his unfortunate ambushing and that killed him. And the idea that the police department is not staffed correctly, that they need raises, and there's just no money for that.
Well, actually, they signed a collective bargaining agreement. That was something that we had passed when I was on the council to allow the police department to bargain for salaries and benefits. And there was finally an agreement between the two sides of town. And so that issue should be put to rest, because the way I look at it, if you sign a contract, you believe in the contract. And so we must adhere to the contract. And so, if there's any discussion now about salaries not being sufficient or anything like that, then, you shouldn't have signed the contract.
Right.
So that argument needs to go to rest. We were told all along throughout this entire process by the department and by the supporters of the department, give the people what they want. Give them what they want, and we'll staff. Okay, well, you got what you wanted.
Right.
What's up?
Right. It seems like you've got a good chief up there. Chief
Absolutely.
Barkley does a great job, and he's been
Yep.
crying for these needs
Yep.
for a long time.
He's got all the tools he needs to build his house now. I mean, he's got the building that we built. He's got the equipment. He's got the salaries now. He's got the funding for all the other projects needed. Now we just got to go find the folks that want to do it. And it's going to be difficult, of course, because of the laws that have been passed in both states, Delaware and Maryland, making it more cumbersome to attract high quality, good soul folks that want to put their life on the line to ensure you a quality sleep at night.
Right.
So it's going to be more difficult, but hopefully the increase in salaries and vacation pay and benefits will help offset that, and you can still attract folks. And it's not going to be easy.
A couple weeks ago, you all met with the Wicomico County Council. The delegation met. I love those meetings because they basically complain about everything, and you get to not argue back with them, communicate back with them. Like a lot of their wishes and needs just completely off the charts in a lot of ways. That's not what the state does or whatever. Talk about that. What does the county need from you guys?
So that's what we're waiting on. We're waiting on that still. What time is it now? Yeah. So we're still waiting on that. The new council president, John Cannon, is back in place. We have a great communication line between each other, and so it's good to have that back in place when we're in Annapolis, because a lot of times we need quick turnaround on letters of support and opinions on things, and so having that in place is good. But there is a disconnect between the executive's office and the council and the delegation and just the general public as a whole, and so trying to find out what we need. I mean, I think our needs are obviously infrastructure, broadband, water, wastewater, and putting people to work that want to work. That's it. So, we're working on the infrastructure. We passed the highway user revenue bill a few years back. We've got another one in to take the sunset off that allows more funding come to the county for paving streets and sidewalks and things like that. Water, wastewater, they finally have starting to have those discussions. They have a plan in place. The municipalities don't know about it yet.
Right.
So we got to have that conversation.
Right.
But I think that's somewhere where I can kind of help fill the gap because, being a former municipal official, I know kind of what the cities and towns are going to be looking for out of this. And so hopefully we can bridge that gap and we can start to move forward and get people connected to services that need them. The airport, of course, is an issue. We need to have the runway extended. We need to be able to bring in the largest carriers that we can. In addition to the port, the river port, that also needs to be maintained as a high priority because those are two gems that we have that nobody else has outside of Baltimore. And the fact that we're not promoting and accentuating them and making them all that they can be, to me, is just mind-boggling.
Right.
So, that is an issue that needs to be not only addressed but pushed forward. But the issues, they go on, and so, we're waiting. Again, like I said, the communication with the council should improve. And, we'll go from there. Whatever the county needs, though, we're going to go get, budget requests, legislation, whatever it is, we're going to go get it. That is my absolute priority in Annapolis, is making sure our county has everything they're asking for. And we've done that since day one. We're undefeated. So, knock on wood, we want to keep that winning streak going. And so, but the sooner the better that we can get these priorities.
your predecessor was known for being a cash cow. He was chairman of the Appropriations Committee. He kind of dictated where money went. And one of the themes of this show is that I'm wrong about everything. So when you were elected, I was like, we're never going to get any money again because Norm got us all this money. But you've had a great track record for getting us money, but you don't do it with the same fanfare.
Yeah, it's good having the governor in place.
Right, that's helped a
You
lot.
know, and the relationships in the House and Senate with leadership. I got to thank former Senator Mathias for that. He helped bridge those gaps with me when I was first elected. Former Senate President Mike Miller always took care of us. The former Speaker, the new Speaker. We've just kind of been positioned. I went to Annapolis, like I said, the way I was on the council. I didn't pay attention to party politics. It was, is this good for us or is this bad for us? And so I continue to do that, and I think it's bode well for us, and we'll continue to do so.
What do you say to those conservatives who are upset that you do work across the party lines? I feel like you have to when you go to Annapolis, but how do you respond to those people who go,
Well, I tell you,
he's
right.
just not Republican enough?
Yeah. So, well, I don't know what the litmus test is I'm supposed to take, but produce it and I'll take the test. But to me, it's mind-boggling, because if you look at the folks in Annapolis who stay in their little echo chamber, they don't get anything done, and so the results speak for themselves. I'm not saying I'm the be-all, end-all by any stretch of the imagination, but I go up and I focus on what's right, and if it's a good idea by someone from Montgomery County, then I'm with them 100% of the way. If it's a bad idea from someone in Cecil County, then I'm against them every step of the way. And so, that's the whole point, as to what can we do to make life just a little bit better here in Wicomico County. That's all that matters. All the other stuff is just peripheral stuff that's just fodder, and I don't have any time for that. We don't have time for that. Like I said, our time on this planet is so limited. I don't want to waste it.
2022 is an election year. Historically, in the State House, in an election year, the legislation that comes up is really easy stuff. There's very few hard decisions that get made.
Right.
The idea is that we're all singing Kumbaya going into the election so we can get reelected. But there are some weird things coming this year. There's some climate change legislation that's going on.
Yeah.
You're still going to have the spending. We're still in a freaking pandemic. All that stuff's going on. So what do you see happening in this session?
Oh, it's going to be fun. It's just, everybody is putting bills in that to use on campaign literature. I support X, Y, Z. And it's not going to go anywhere. It's not even going to get a hearing. But if they want us to submit the bill to do that, I mean, that's on them. Again, that's not my style of doing things. So it's going to be interesting. But the thing is, for us, it's more work this session than in normal sessions, because you have to be prepared for every bill. Because if you take it easy on one, you say, oh, that bill's so crazy, that ain't going anywhere, and you just overlook it and focus somewhere else, all of a sudden it starts moving, and then you're going to have to kick your gears in to start fighting something that's got motion behind it now, instead of stamping it down in the beginning. So it's more work, definitely, in these election years, because you have to be prepared for everything, and it's stuff that you never would anticipate having to be prepared for. So
this session, you'll all be in the same room. It won't be like they put you in the basement last time, that kind of stuff.
As of now, you've
Right.
got this Omicron or whatever the variant du jour is coming around, and so you're seeing things starting to slowly tighten up now. And so if you're watching this, 20 years from now, Omicron is a variant of the COVID-19 virus, and so as of now, yes, we're back in the same chamber and all that, but that could change. I don't foresee it changing. I think that most of the folks in the General Assembly are vaccinated, and with proper PPE and things of that nature, we should be fine.
So this leads to the inevitable question in terms of what's going to happen with you with the next election. There was a period there where you wanted to be county executive.
Right.
Didn't work out for a lot of strange reasons. So where is Carl Anderton headed?
Well, right now I'm sitting here with you.
Which is painful in itself.
sitting here with you, and you know, I'm focused on the upcoming session, and you know, again, you know, helping folks out. You know, we've got septic issues. We still have folks dealing with unemployment issues, healthcare issues, broadband issues. That is absolute priority. That,
Right.
you know, it's 2021, and we still have folks that are struggling getting internet access at their home, and there's funding available. You know, but it seems like, you know, we're just kind of not going after it like other counties are. You know, Somerset County is going after all this funding, and I get folks calling me asking me, hey, what's going on in your county? And I just kind of sit there and I don't know.
Well, Acting County Executive has put out an RFP.
Right.
And now the latest debate is, do we go for the wires, or will there be a satellite option for people?
You go for it all.
Yeah.
You go for it all. You know, same thing with, you know, generating electricity. You go for it all. You know, everything. You take it all. You don't just focus, you know, well, you know, no, you go for it all, because the goal was to get folks connected now. You don't want folks to have to wait 6 more years, you know, for you know, satellite internet to be readily available. No, the folks should not have to wait like that for a basic thing that should be almost, you know, regulated as utility now. You know, I mean, could you imagine, you know, 100 years ago when they're running electricity? Oh, sorry, you got to wait 6 years while we, you know, we're waiting for something new to come out. You know, no, let's get them wired up. You know, it's fiber, you know, so you can use it for a myriad of things, even if folks decide to use, you know, satellite streaming or whatever. So, you know, no, the idea of waiting is a disservice to everyone.
So you haven't decided yet what you're going to do.
So, yeah, you know, I will say, you know, it's been an amazing year.
It's only been a year. Isn't that amazing,
You
too?
know, the way that folks have reached out to me in the district and outside the district, you know, be it stopping me at the grocery store, coming to my house. I honestly have folks that will blow their horn at me at a red light, have me roll the window down, telling me to run for, you know, executive, or telling me to run for the House. And so just hearing from everybody's just been amazing. I'm listening. We're taking it all to heart. There are a lot of, you know, circumstances on the peripheral that need to be taken into consideration as well. And I'm just very, you know, I know people throw the word blessed around and humbled and honored and all that, but I mean those things. I mean, to my core. I mean, it literally brings tears to my eyes when I get text messages from pillars in the community, you know, asking me to do something, you know, to run for an office. I mean, it's just amazing. I never thought someone like me, you know, without a college degree, you know, who's worked with their hands their whole life, you know, been supporting my wife, working with her. She's got her 2 degrees, our 2 kids, and 29 years of marriage, you know, to have folks wanting me to do something, be it running for the House, you know, or county executive, is just truly something I'll never forget. And I hope I never forget it, because it has absolutely been amazing. And I have no doubt that when I pick this phone up, there'll be a text message from a phone number with somebody asking me to either run for executive or run for the House. And, you know, there is a clear need in both areas, absolutely. You know, and we have a vision for both jobs. You know, we have some unfinished business in Annapolis that we'd like to take care of that would actually help set up a run in the future or now for county executive. And we have a plan for that. The climate between the council and the executive's office is a little tumultuous, a little too much for myself. I'm not really a drama person.
Right.
But there's a lot of that going on, you know, so would it be best to just wait and continue to bust our hump in Annapolis and then come home? Or do we just go now and say nobody can clean it up unless we clean it up? So those are the questions that are being asked. And, you know, we're looking for answers. You know, I pray about it every night. I talk with my family about it. And, you know, I would like it if somebody would just reach in and grab you by the neck and say, do this, you know, but it doesn't happen. So.
Right. Well, you know, the council, there's going to be a lot of change there. A lot of people aren't running again. Yes. Ernie Davis is running for county executive, so his seat will come open.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of change on that front. And then in the executives race, there's 3 people formally in. Julie Giordano, John Pasota, the acting county executive. He's in a weird spot because he could get fired by the council.
Right.
Just crazy stuff there.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I just wonder if there's a lane for you in that situation.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a lane in there. I mean, it's for the folks who don't want drama. If you don't want drama, if you want to see, your roads being paved, your ditches being cleaned, the basic services come back. You want somebody to answer the phone that's going to bust their hump for you. You want somebody that's going to hire the best people to put in the right positions. If you want somebody that's going to go to Annapolis, go to DC, go wherever we need to go to make sure we have the tools, the funding that we need to not only survive but excel, there's that lane.
Let's talk about something really important that doesn't get talked about enough.
Sure.
The Ravens' performance on the football field this year. How are you feeling about that?
I got to tell you, man, they kind of remind me of myself, just overlooked, cast off, but they keep hanging around, the one thing that I will say is that, we beat the Chargers. So
That's not hard to do.
I enjoyed watching you that day. So, but I salute you because you are a legit fan.
I love
Every
the Chargers.
time they're in town, you're there.
I'm there
with us in the parking lot tailgating.
Yes.
I got to give you credit.
And I appreciate his tailgates are the best because it's the who's who of Annapolis show up. They all go there to kiss his ring. The governor was even there that one day, which was pretty amazing.
There's no ring kissing, brother.
Carl Anderton, how can people get a hold of you? I know you like to have people call you.
443-359-1335. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, MyGram, YourGram, all the social medias at Carl Anderton Jr. I'm sure in the bottom third here, it's got our email address and the office location in Annapolis and the office number, but my cell phone number should be in the bottom third right here. So call that number right there, and I'll do whatever I can to help you out. No hesitation.
Delegate Anderton, have a great Christmas, have a great session, and we'll be checking in with you when you're up there.
Absolutely. Look forward to it, brother. Absolutely.
I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. Another edition of One-on-One right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and One-on-One. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.